Hello, I'm so excited for my very first post for my new account, The Choir Queen. And this has been something I've been dreaming about for a long time, to create some content for resources, tech tips, teaching tips, and just general motivation for my music educator friends, especially my middle school peeps and my middle school choir peeps, and any choral music educators out there. So today I thought I would start with a little alliteration, Magic Monday. So I'm coming to you sweaty, the messy bun, kind of some smeared makeup, because that's just where I am right now. Left home about 7 this morning, got home about 5:15, just kind of like a normal work day. And I really wanted to go on a walk. And I haven't been as consistent going on walks. That's like my form of exercise. I'll walk for about 45 minutes. It's great. It burns about like 275 calories if I walk fast enough and I've got my routine. I don't like going super late when it's dark outside. And then there was the holidays. It's gotten really cold here in Fort Worth. And so when I get home after dark, or by the time I've cooked dinner or something, I'm just kind of scared, or it's too cold. I've just had excuses. But I am kind of on a health journey, and I have lost 18 pounds lately, and just kind of trying to get back to a more healthy weight for my height and my body type. And so today I got home 5:15. It was nice. There was sunlight. And I said, I'm going. And so I didn't go pick up the Girl Scout cookie order I was supposed to pick up. I haven't cooked dinner. It's 6:38. I'm telling you, we normally eat at like 5:30 on the dot. I haven't taken a shower. My daughter hasn't taken a shower. But you know what? I had to prioritize myself today. And so for me, that's been magic, because right now I have so much energy. I'm excited. I'm recording something, kind of putting myself out there. And I also feel really good about the health goal that I accomplished, because I've really been trying to go on walks almost every day. It's also so good for my mental health, because I'll just put in my AirPods, and I love to listen to podcasts. I listened to one of my favorite teacher podcasts on my walk, and finished it right as I was walking back up into my driveway. So it was a great time. So my Magic Monday tip number 1 for you has to do with self-care, to go move right now. If you live in an apartment or a house with stairs, I want you to walk up and down the stairs 2 or 3 times. For me, that's enough to really get like, ooh boy, it's hard to walk upstairs when you're getting a little older. Or if you can't go out on a walk, you can just walk up and down your block really fast. Or you can walk to the house across the street and back. Just do something so you'll feel good about that. And if you've got time to go for 15 minutes or 20 or more, then do it. But what's your excuse? It's probably not a good one. I've been there making excuses since Christmas with the cold and, the darkness, and you can just turn on your cell phone flashlight and make yourself feel more comfortable. So that's been a Magic Monday tip for me, and I want us to all be moving, active every day. You can walk your building at lunch if you're a teacher, or you can park a little farther away at the grocery store. So let's move. And then my second Magic Monday tip is about teaching your middle school or your young basses. So I have got a hilarious, crazy, difficult to manage 8th grade boys choir, like I do every year. It's the name of the game. I love them. We have a great time, but they are just all over the place. And I've got every kind of kid you can imagine in there. There are everything from your jocks, A-team athletes being recruited right now by, select football teams, all the way to kids that are way into tech, all the way to kids that have no idea what they signed up for, and they're just kind of along for this journey going, oh, cool, this is choir, and we're teaching them to read music. And there's kids that's been doing it their whole life. We're all over the gamut. And we also are half remote and half in person, and we're working at the same time. So exciting times teaching in a pandemic. We're also behind a mask and at times shields, depending on how far away we're able to get and the amount of time that we're singing as per our district regulations. So I'm always trying to come up with ways to help those basses. I find with middle school basses, as soon as they get a little uncomfortable as you're bringing them up in their range, and they would need to flip to falsetto, or they would be in that area where they're going to crack, they will just drop back down the octave. And I'm talking about your boys with really low voices, not the ones that just happen to be a bass for you because their voice has started to change. And so we tell them their bass is middle school. And my boys hate when I tell them that, like, next year in 9th grade, you're really going to probably be a tenor or a tenor 2. And they're like, shun me, like, what? How dare you? I'm a bass. And I'm like, dude, I can sing lower than you. You're just, okay. They get super offended. But so I find those kids whose voices have really dropped, and we're talking like, baritone level, like they're for sure going to be a baritone when they move up to high school. They just don't want to fight through the discomfort. So I am not athletic at all. I know little tiny bits of sports terms and sports terminology. And like I said, I've got some athletic kids in there, and then I've got some that are uninterested. But somehow this analogy came to me about throwing a spiral. And so I have no idea how to throw a spiral. I would think it would be something like this. And so I said, we were doing an exercise, which I really love to do with my basses. I would start at like an A in the key of A major, like an octave and a third below middle C. And I'll start with my basses, and I'll have them just sing Z, or if you've got a group that likes to kind of make that swallow, that little high school, middle school bass syndrome, I'll just keep it on an E. Z, and a lot of times I'll have them point. And we talk a lot about placement in the mask. Your nose should be buzzing Z, but I still find as we climb up and up and up, as soon as they would be forced to make a choice to flip into falsetto or let it crack, they'll drop right down and they're matching an octave down. And that's where we're getting into the range where the poor basses have to sing in middle school, because everything's written in the key of G with the assumption no bass can sing below a D. And so a lot of mine have really low voices. And I know that's the same for you too. So today I just said, when we get to that top one, it's like you're throwing a spiral. And I was just being silly. I'm like, God, it sounds so stupid when I try to pretend I know anything about sports. Well, lo and behold, like 3 of them, they didn't even like do a pantomime football. They did this like flick kind of thing. And they just did it. And so all the boys kind of start doing it. And I looked over at my co-teacher and said, hear that? As I'm like bringing them up. And she's like, wow, we kind of both perked up. And I was like, yes, I love that. Do that. Do what this kid is doing. And so they just started this flicker. So, they were all doing their own little variation of it. But it wasn't like a full, like just throw the football or throw the frisbee like I've done before. And they had this like, this flick to the end of it. Man, they sounded amazing. And I got them all the way up where they were singing in chest voice like an F above a middle C or an F sharp before we stopped. And then I just stopped. And I'm telling you, we haven't had more than 2 or 3 basses at a time do this all year. Because like I said, I'm behind a huge glass panel, anywhere from 6 to 20 feet away from them. In a normal year, we wouldn't have masks, we wouldn't have shields. I'd be intermingling. I'd be, okay, I'm singing here, who can match down there? And then I'd find the kid that can match my octave, and then I would find another kid that could match their octave, and we'd build. But it's not safe this year, and I'm following district protocol and my campus and my fine arts protocol. I can't be just right in there, interactive, hands-on like I'm used to being. So for some reason, the flick, the spiral worked today. Well, they had this awesome rehearsal. And so to me, that was just true magic, because me just like, throw a spiral, trying to be relatable, trying to be, someone who knows anything about sports and terminology. So turns out I did. I had that tucked away somewhere. Thanks, Dad. I remember you teaching me what a spiral was when I was in middle school. So another thing that I found, and it's a like kind of a magic trick, there is one good thing I found about masks. One. And it's for middle school tenor basses who tend to want to kind of speak at you rather than sing. And it's really hard to teach beginners to sing during a pandemic behind a mask and a shield and etc. However, when you're singing in a mask, I have noticed that if I tell them you need to feel hot, humid air the whole time when you're singing, and I'm in a mask too doing this, so as I'm explaining it to them, I can feel that I'm doing this. And that mask, and it's so gross, like it just makes me want to like burn their mask. Like, okay, now put it in the fire because that's disgusting. But tell them to sing, and you try it too. Go put on your mask and try asking for hot, humid air to blow through, because that's the only way I can figure out how to teach air and breath support and a flow and airflow where they're not speaking at Z, Z, like to teach a singer tone behind a mask to kids that are all over the place. Their voices just plummeted to the bass range, or they've never been in choir before, or they were in choir in the 5th and 6th grade, didn't take it in 7th grade, voice changed, now they're back in 8th grade. We're all over the place. We're half remote, we're half in person. So anyway, that has been kind of like a foolproof way to tell them, to teach them to sing with airflow. So I hope these magical tips work for you. Remember, we're gonna move somewhere, stairs, block, longer if you can, and then try tomorrow or the next day that you teach your changing voice males, your basses especially, try the spiral, try the flick of the hand, and try that warm-up I was explaining to get them to really, really sing out with lots of energy and gusto with humid, moist air in their mouth.